and investigations into the controversial Saglemi Housing Project have established consultancy services were awarded to 3 different companies for the same work done. In all, a total of $13 million were paid instead of the $5 million which was captured as consultancy fee under the original agreement. According to the document filed by the Attorney General in 2013, Architectural and Engineering Services Limited, AES Limited, which had the consultancy contract, outsourced its services to VHM for a period of 24 months. It also showed that later in April 2015, the Ministry of Works and Housing entered into another contract for consultancy services with Ridge Management Solutions. And Attorney General Godfrey Dame further observes that the payments made were without any evidence of work done contrary to the contract's requirements. My colleague Joseph Akable has been walking us through the details.
It mainly has to do with the issuance of false certificates. Is one charge that runs through various sums. Then there is the bit about the misapplication of public funds or misuse of public property. It's also another offense that runs through. And so these are the offenses that have been leveled against the public officials in terms of false certificates. Is one charge that runs through. In terms of the public officials, there is the issue of woefully causing financial loss to the state that runs through various sums. Then there is the bit about the misapplication of public funds or misuse of public property. It's also another offense that runs through. And so these are the offenses that have been leveled against the public officials. In terms of the private individuals, there is the bit about dishonestly causing a loss to the state and dishonestly receiving, among other charges that have also been leveled against them, Daniel. So the substantive issue against the public officials is the fact that sometime in 2012, the state went in for $200 million from an international credit agency. And this was money that was supposed to be used to construct 5,000 housing units. Now, we are told that when Mr. Dauda took over as the Works and Housing Minister, he reviewed the contract. And so he said what Parliament had approved was that $200 million for 5,000 housing units. The minister takes over, is accused of having reviewed it down, was contrary to what Parliament approved, to now bring it to 1,500 housing units at the same cost of $200 million. We are told that the chief director later reviewed this downwards to 1,400, aside from the fact that they said without any basis, the contract sum all of a sudden reduced from $200 million to an amount of $181 million. Now, the AG says that as it stands now, the work should have been completed in 2017. We've not had the 5,000 units. We rather have just about 668 units that have been completed, which, as you indicated, he says are not habitable. And so what it means is that the $200 million that we took for the housing units that we're supposed to finish and sell and get money to be able to pay for it, we've not been able to do that. There's also the bit about a consultancy service contract that was awarded. We are told that this particular contract, under the execution of the master agreement, consultancy for the project was not supposed to exceed $5 million, but we are looking at figures in the region of $13 million. In some instances, we are told that the same consultancy service was awarded 3 times, on 2 occasions to the same company, and on 1 occasion, it was shared between AESL and another company that also executed. The thing about VHM and RSM was that the majority shareholder in RSM is also the person who is a director at VHM. And so we are told that it's the same individual. He is the Tete Angelo Novi, who is also being charged. And we are told that it's the same work that was given to AESL, that AESL decided to subcontract to VHM. It's that same work that was handed to RSM on 2 occasions. And so the AG makes the point that this is work that they were required to, even if they were supposed to have done anyway, they were required to show evidence of the work before payments were effected. That was not done. And so as per the records that are available to the AG says, there's no evidence that work was done. The evidence indicates that it's the same work that was being done by AESL, which had subcontracted to VHM. And that work was extended from the period of 2013. And so the AG says within the same period that the contract was being awarded to RSM twice, the same contract that was being given to VHM, which had the RSM majority shareholder as director, was being extended and no work was being done, yet the payments were effected for close to $13 million, even though the contract said that out of the 200 million, if you're going to pay for consultancy service, you shouldn't go beyond $5 million. Once the charges are filed, a date to be fixed for the arraignment. And when they show up in court for the arraignment, that is when the charges will be read against them. Then they'll be afforded the opportunity to respond to the charges leveled against each of them. And so we understand that they maintain that they did not commit any crime. And so those are matters that they'll put to the court once the case is called, when a date is fixed.
Let's do more on this because lawyer Martin Kpebu joins me on via Zoom. What are your own readings into this matter, especially now that a former minister has been fingered for misappropriation of funds?
Oh, well, Aisha, in matters like this, and talking to a lawyer, naturally, I have to start from the point of view that a person is innocent until proven guilty. That's Article 19 of our Constitution. Yes, we always have to guard that jealously so that we don't end up convicting people in the court of public opinion even before the court has had a chance to go into the matter. So, based upon that, I'm not able to make much of the case until we've heard the side of the accused. So that is to say, when the case is presented to court, eventually we will hear their answer. But so far, what we can celebrate is that, yes, the state is showing that as and when there's evidence that something has gone wrong, they will present it to the court, and that's good. So that's accountability, okay? Putting their deeds before court so that they can account for their actions is what we should celebrate. But whether somebody is guilty or not, we will not know until the trial has come to an end.
Counsel, how does this development affect the execution of this contract? As we all know, it's been on the table for some time now, and we're all wishing that it's executed so that a lot of people can have homes to live in.
From where I'm hoping, I may be wrong, but I'm hoping that the court case cannot stop it, because in such a case, you see that from what Akable was reading, the analysis all of you have done so far, it's about the number of units taken from 5,000 to something, 1,000, and all that. So I don't see why that stopped the project. That's number one. Then number two, usually in matters like this, they can go and take a video, okay? A video of the whole project so far, the buildings in contention, a comprehensive video, so that if there are any, disputations as to what has been done, what has not been done, the video can be used. And then also, so that's it. And in taking the video, maybe they can extend facilities to the accused, that they should also go and take their own video, because we don't want that in future when it gets to that point, it will be said that, oh, but you continue the buildings without informing us to come for evidence. So they can gather as much evidence as they want from the buildings and then continue with the construction.
Now, in that, what Akable read to us and what the Attorney General has been explaining to us, you realize that there are a lot of monies paid instead of the money that is supposed to be paid, as captured by the contract. For instance, it talks about $5 million that was $13 million that were paid to 3 companies who did same work, consultancy, instead of the $5 million that was captured as consultancy fee under the original document. So, if you look at some of these issues, what are the likely outcome, or what is the likely outcome in court, and what sort of charges could the people fingered could they be facing in court?
So it's been said that the offenses are causing financial loss, okay, and that's under Section 179A of the Criminal Offences Act, okay. So, and generally, to give a general education on it, is basically to say that if a person, that's a public officer, and even a private officer, when they are transacting, do any transaction that involves public funds, okay, public property, and they don't take care, and in the process, we lose money or public property, then that causes financial loss. So, if Mr. A is being given, let's say, 50 million to execute a project, and then in disbursing the money, he doesn't want to see that before he pays, services have been rendered, then that is when he can be charged for causing financial loss. And you know, we've had a number of those cases. Remember the quality drain case? So that case involved the rice project. They sent Ibrahim Adam, Kwame Pepra, and all of them to jail. Apart from that, you remember the Chikata case? Though eventually he won his case, but he had served quite a substantial part of the prison this term. Then you remember Alfred Buyome, but he lost his case. So these are the cases under the causing financial law. So it all depends on the evidence. And as I've already stated, we will not know the strength of the case until the accused comes to court and also say their side of the story.
I'm grateful for your time. Martin Kpebu is a legal practitioner, and he's been explaining to us what could be the outcome of the prosecution of some of the ministers who've been fingered in this. Well, speaking of the condition of the buildings, here's a report filed by my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson in April when he visited the abandoned Saglemi Housing Project.
On the dirty tarred roads is the first thing you see upon entering the abandoned site project, which sits on a 300-acre land. It's fast becoming a grazing field for cattle who feed on the weeds growing within the median of the buildings and its surroundings. Street lights, yet to be connected to the national grid, have been mounted in front of the buildings, and the drainage system is visible in between the tarred rows. The housing project comes in two categories: a two-story building with 9 apartments each and another 2-bedroom self-contained apartment. The cream and ash painting on the buildings were fading, perhaps due to being exposed to the vagaries of the weather. Now, let's quickly take a scan and go through some of the houses or the rooms to understand what you have there. I'm talking about the apartment. So, first of all, of course, you see the 2-story building, as I mentioned. Now, if you look at my right, for example, this is where it was expected that it would have the meters. And so each room or each apartment would be connected to a meter, which is going to give them electricity as well. Now, to my immediate left is the one of the apartment. And so I walk in, the doors are firmly fixed doors. Of course, you could see that there is a security door because you could see from the inside who is knocking at your door. You also have your light knob as well. Now, if you look here, these are it's a tiled floor, actually, I should say. It's a tiled floor, fully tiled floor. We have all the connections with regards to electricity. And of course, you could see some of them having the bulbs as well here. And so this presumably is expected to be the hall of this particular apartment. And I get a sense that it's a 2-bedroom apartment. And so if you move away from the hall, to my immediate right is another bedroom. It appears to be that it has also been completed as well, but the only difference is that the place has been abandoned. But of course, you can see some weeds here and there. And because it's been raining and they haven't access to the room, the floor is a bit kind of muddy, untidy. That is the situation here at the Saglemi Housing Project. Now, let me take you to the washroom as well. Now, if you come to the washroom, this is expected to be the toilet room where, of course, you want to discharge your human waste. Here, you have a sink here that is equally furnished. They have the lamp holder for the bulbs as well. The doors fully, installed here at the washroom, I should say. Now, shortly when you move from there, you come to the bathroom. That is where you have to take your bath after a long day activity, or perhaps this is where you have to be. And so look at the state. I mean, very untidy. The place is in a mess, I should say. You have a shower here, of course. So this is supposed to be the bathroom where you take your bath in the morning if you wake up, and of course when you return from work. And this is a door, but unfortunately I can't have access to this door. It's locked. I don't know why it is locked. It appears to be the only door I've seen that is locked. All the doors have been opened. So this is the current state of the Saglemi Housing Project. And of course you might be wondering, where is the kitchen? Here is the kitchen. This is the state of the kitchen for you. They have their sink, and of course this is the state for you. Very, very untidy. And and of course, I mean, the burglars are here. So this is the current state of the kitchen. And of course, this, I'm sure, is expected to be the storeroom where you keep some of your utensils and some of your products and all that. So this is the state. This is the current state of the Saglemi Housing Project. A 2-bedroom apartment, 4H, and as I mentioned, is a 3-story building. Each building has 9 apartments in all. Right, so I want to take you upstairs so that you check what is there as well. But I'm sure the situation will not be different from what you've already seen. But the point is that even look at the staircase as well. It's unkempt. I mean, there are no cleaners around to sanitize the place or properly to keep the place in check so that the place will be in the proper shape. So this is the first floor, actually. And to my immediate left, that's where you have a better appreciation of the doors. And these are the doors that have been fixed with almost all the houses here, or all the apartments, as we say, here. Now, here is another apartment. Now let me enter. Of course, there's nobody in, so I cannot knock. I easily have access to the place. So this appears to be a single room, self-contained. Appears to be a single room, self-contained. And so, of course, it's expected that here will be probably your hall and kitchen. Yeah, of course, if you look at the setup, it is likely to be a hall and a kitchen, whilst here becomes your bedroom. This is expected to be your bedroom. And of course, I mean, you can see some 2 plastic chairs here, and of course the washroom as well. Let me see if I can have access to the, of course, that's correct. So this is the washroom as well. And there's one thing you notice, that all over the place, the place is extremely dirty. So this is the current state of the Saglemi Housing Project, where the NDC and NPP have been having issues with it. It's a controversial project. I mean, a huge controversial project. The NPP insists that this project hasn't been completed. The NDC insists it's been completed. But we are doing our own checks, and we are realizing that it is all